and welcome to Coral Gables Television Studios. You're watching Coffee Talk, and I'm your host, Brianna Moles. Well, we all know that heat is always a factor in South Florida, and one person who's an expert in knowing what to do when it gets dangerously hot is Coral Gables Fire Chief Marc Stolzenberg. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chief.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. So, Chief, I know the department has a proud history of serving the community since 1925. Since you've been Chief, what are some of the proudest moments that you've experienced with the department?
You know, you mentioned the 1925 and this being our 90th anniversary. So the reflection back to the start of the department, that everything that we're building on today started 90 years ago with the department's inception. So the things that we've continued as traditionally is we love to, be able to serve the community. And when I get these letters of response when our crews go out and take care of some of our citizens in their times of need, that's one of the proudest moments. I got a letter from a 6-year-old writing specifically to the crew that took care of her with a nosebleed the other day. And it was really interesting to read the letter, and a young girl thanking us for being there, and her last words were, "For being there so quick." And
that's so sweet.
That's what I really take pride in, is that we are a service delivery organization, and when we can deliver that service and get there quick and resolve the needs, whatever they might be, that's what I'm proud of.
I'm sure those moments are ones that everyone remembers in the department, because that's really what makes your job so special.
Yes.
What are some of the core values of the department that help shape your vision as a team?
Well, you mentioned since I've taken over as fire chief, one of the things I try to do is to create a vision. And it's a really simple vision, and I use it almost on like a tagline whenever I can. And the department's picked up on it, because I mentioned to you that we are a service delivery and we strive to serve. So my vision has been simple. It's be the right person. And that goes into depth as far as what needs to be solved. What's the problem? What do I need to do to solve it? Do I have a certain amount of training? Do I have an education level? Do I train and am proficient with the tools? Whatever it is, be that right person. And by doing that, that's the vision that trends our core values, again, back to that service delivery with pride and professionalism.
And I know that you have achieved so much with the department since you've been chief, but moving forward into 2016, we're already a few months in, but what are some of the objectives and goals that you've set forth for the team?
Well, one of the things that we've done, Coral Gables is a very special city, and I like to think that our department is very special. We're a Class 1 rated fire department, which there are not many in the United States that are Class 1, but on top of that, we're also an accredited fire department. And that relationship of being accredited and a Class 1 is even lower. So being proud to host that responsibility and to keep our service delivery at a premium, those are the type of things that we look towards to be able to provide that service and to train and to be ready for whatever type of call might come in.
And I know the department is pretty large. There's a lot of emergency personnel, firefighters, other responders that are all part of this big group. Can you tell us a little bit more about all the different breakdowns and divisions?
Sure. Our divisions are, and remember, as a fire department, we're basically an all hazard. We take care of a lot more than just fires. Fortunately, fires are the least amount of a response that we do, but it takes the most amount of people when there is one. The reason that there's not many fires is the professional response of our Fire Prevention Bureau. The strict standards and insurance of the codes really helps reduce the volume of calls. And the quality of the inspection process. That's the main reason that I contribute to the low volume of calls. We have a downtown business district, and we have a lot of high rises that come in with sprinkler systems. The life safety codes that we enforce are utmost importance to prevention tactics, and that's really what our main goal is. We'd rather prevent the fire than actually fight the fire. So as a fire department, our response ratio is about 80% are medical calls that we go on, and 20% are fire related. And we have 3 stations that are responding, and those 3 stations report to the operations division. The operations division chief is responsible for the daily activities of the shifts. He has a battalion chief that governs it on a daily basis, and he'll oversee the response aspect, the truck maintenance, the logistics, and areas of response. On the other side, we have a training division, which is called our professional standards division. And their responsibility is obviously the training of the firefighters, which can go from paramedic training, emergency medical training, driver training to be able to drive the actual fire trucks, to the maintenance of the records, which maintain our Class 1 rating, because of the Class 1 requirement puts an extensive amount of responsibility into the training division. And incorporated with the training division, we also have the responsibility of our hazardous material response as well as our infectious disease control. Wow. So it's a broad spectrum of responsibilities for the Professional Standards Division. The third division that we have is called our Fire Prevention Bureau. And they're responsible for code compliance inspections, new construction, renovation inspections, our water system, which is our hydrant system that we work with, and overall code compliance.
Going back to the training, you mentioned it a little bit. Can you tell us what sort of training goes into being a firefighter or emergency personnel?
From the beginning, and when we start, just go back to the start of hiring a firefighter. We were looking for the firefighter that has a state certified firefighter license or certificate. He's also a state certified paramedic. Again, when I mentioned Coral Gables being unique, not too many cities or counties require those two as a requirement. You can either come in as a firefighter, emergency medical technician, and or a paramedic, and we require the two highest, a firefighter and a paramedic.
Wow. And
on a daily basis, a firefighter will start off training the minute he comes into work. When he starts his shift at 7 o'clock, the first thing they're doing is they're checking out all their equipment on their trucks.
Oh, okay.
So it could be as far as from a gas-powered fan to the extrication tools to extricate after a car accident, to the hoses, to the nozzles. They're actually working in a training capacity. So the concept of training is a team concept. They'll go about it daily. And then specifically, the Professional Standards Bureau will conduct drills of various sorts. You'll have multi-company drills where you'll have 3 or 4 trucks or vehicles, so you might have anywhere from 14 to 20 people on the drill ground simulating a fire call, where you might have a emergency medical incident where you might just have the 3 paramedics responding to a heart attack, and we'll run them through scenarios with medical equipment, computers that simulate the actual emergency.
The department is very proactive in sort of educating residents and local business owners in, like you said, preventing emergencies. What are some of the other community outreach programs that the department participates in? I know that there is things such as CPR and first aid training, safety installation checks for infant seats in cars. What are some other things?
The CPR training, and what I'll incorporate into the CPR training, because that's been going on, that's been a mainstay, and it has a positive effect on somebody's life. If potentially there's an emergency next to you and you can provide CPR,
sure,
you've only enhanced that person's chance of survival. The addition to the AEDs, the automatic external defibrillators that are pretty much any building you walk in, you might see one. And that's a mainstay of survival. So the heart, after it goes into a cardiac arrest, which is a ventricular fibrillation, the person doing CPR maintains it into that level of care, and the AED will convert it and hopefully save that person's life. So that's one of the programs that we're very proactive in trying to promote and offer it. We do offer CPR training on a monthly basis to the citizens and residents of Coral Gables, and we do that through the youth center, so they can go online and register, and for a free class once a month that we offer it.
And piggybacking on the training, I know that the department takes part in many national competitions.
They're national as well as international. It's one of the things that we're very proud of. About 15 to 18 years ago, we started an extrication competition team. And going to compete into these extrication competitions are exciting. Not only does it build enthusiasm among our firefighters, it teaches them skills that would never pick up on their own. Because I mentioned the international, is we compare our tactics and we benchmark what we do compared to departments from Ireland, Scotland, South Africa. So we really have a chance to work on perfecting our skills, because the utmost purpose of the extrication is to get the patient out and get them to the appropriate facility with the least amount of time.
What about for kids that just want to see a fire truck? They want to touch and feel and see what it's like for the day. I know there's events like the Big Toy Extravaganza, Rock the Block. Those are some great local events in the neighborhoods where kids get to really get up close and personal.
Well, you talked about things that make the department proud, and we have a public education specialist that reaches out to all the schools and all the youth activities. Just to see the fire trucks, you get those smiles on the kids' face.
Yes.
And people come by the station all the time for tours. You know, we'll have people just stop in, and if there's somebody in the station that's available, then we'll most likely show you everything we have in our station, our trucks, our equipment, and talk to the kids.
Well, if people would like more information about everything that the fire department offers, where can they go? Well,
they can go online to our website. I mean, it has all of our specific information, but if they want to talk to someone, feel free to call the department, and I can give you that number. It's 305-460-5571, and we have our public education officer would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us, Chief.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you. Well, that's all for this edition of Coffee Talk. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From everyone here at Coral Gables TV, I'm Brianna Moles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.